Micromega CEO Greg Morris was in just a short while ago, and he joins us again now to talk results for the first half. Greg, I think it was the last time you were in for results, or the time before, you talked about consolidating the business, shaking things down, getting set for growth. So remind us what you said you were going to do and what you've actually done.
Thank you, David. We set out to become a more defined and visible business in the sense of what our core activities were, and to rationalise some of our assets. We had historically accumulated a large book of small businesses, and there was a need to bring them into, let's call them verticals, for want of a better description, that had clearly defined mandates, that were rationalised with single structure overheads and management teams that were focused at a cohesive approach to the broader markets we'd acquired through the acquisitions. So that's now complete. We're now primarily in the occupational health and safety and related support products in that particular vein, and then we've got the technology businesses which have really come through very nicely this year for us. And so that base is there. The financial services side of our business is still there. It's a legacy business. We haven't added anything to it. Safe to say we've enhanced our relationship into London with GFI, and that's working very nicely. We've experienced good growth as a result of that arrangement.
On the topic of growth, last time we spoke, you were talking about all the acquisitions that you had done. You've made another one, Our Data. This is what you call is an enterprise management system to local government, and you bought this for about 12.5 million rand. How does this form part of the greater strategy for your business?
At the moment, we're quite a large provider. We probably, prior to this acquisition, we're number 3 by way of number of local authorities in the provision of enterprise management service solutions. And some of those clients have been going for 20, 30 years in our books. This particular acquisition really just added another 16 to the portfolio, primarily in the Western Cape, where we've been relatively weak. And it falls in line with our strategy to roll out our enterprise management system under what's regarded as the SCOA project, which has been an initiative through National Treasury. And so we're just positioning ourselves to ensure that we have the critical mass built into the business to add the requisite value we intend to add based on the investment we made in technology. But more importantly, we've got a lot of downstream products that support it. So we've got a water business that supports it, that's done very well for us this year, and auxiliary products that plug and play as a way of technology, hardware and software.
We were talking earlier about the risk in being exposed to government with Ellie's, and Byron was saying, you know, if you've got this massive contract that you're expecting to supply those desktop things, no, but it's delayed. So you've got most of your eggs in that basket, and now nothing's happening. So if you're exposed to government, it can be a nice steady income and some substantial income. If things go wrong somewhere with the tender or the contract or government spending's put on hold, big problem.
It is. It's a balanced attitude. We would never expose ourselves to a single transaction driving our public sector portfolio or a single mandate. We're very cognizant of those delays. We've seen them, and we've seen the impacts on listed companies over the last 10 years. And particularly, even if the contract has been successful, the aftermath of reviews, perceptions, and investigations, for that matter. But our particular business is focused at the local authority. It's a diverse portfolio. We touch on 102 municipalities. We're not trading under a single mandate. We're trading under relatively small mandates secured with each particular local authority through a tender process. And so at this particular stage, as much as government has a national initiative, our portfolio and our customer is diverse. You know, government's the biggest balance sheet in town. You want to be participating and adding value in that particular space. And we've had so far a good run. We certainly can't complain.
Greg, you're also exposed to the occupational health and safety aspect. So are you benefiting from the ramp up that we're seeing in the mining companies in terms of making sure that they have good safety levels?
We are. There's no doubt that as legislation moves more towards what we refer to as a manslaughter act, where boards of directors have to take accountability and responsibility for their activities and the way they treat their workers, we definitely see an uptick in that particular area, and it's coming through the numbers. I mean, NOSA, the primary service provider in that particular sector for us, has enjoyed a phenomenal 6 months, and there's no indication that that's going to change. If anything, the trend is really sitting in front of us. Our challenge is to ensure we've got the internal capacity to deliver on it and deliver on it responsibly, because at the end of the day, they are outsourcing that level of responsibility down to NOSA. So we do have the responsibility to ensure that the product we deliver back does give the requisite comfort to
You
boards.
say it's a challenge, it's a word that makes the ears prick up, because sometimes
Yeah.
a challenge is more than a challenge, it's a problem or it's a difficulty, it's an obstacle. And you need people who know that business and who have a feel for it to make the right decisions.
Correct, David. I mean, we are fortunate. We've been in that space now for just on 9 years. The team that we have, both domestically and globally, because we're not just a South African provider, we sit in Europe, we also sit in China, and we're very fortunate. It's a technical environment. You know, the areas of growth, I mean, the one thing about Micromega at the moment, and we're seeing it in the numbers, and we see it certainly in the likes of the nose and the technology business, is that we're very fortunate to be positioned at the early stage of a very high growth phase, and demand driven by factors that are really away from us, but we're positioned to enjoy. And I refer specifically to national treasury initiatives as well as legislative requirements on the other side in the downstream support service businesses. So far so good, and it's looking good for us.
All right, well, that's where we have to end the conversation with Micromega CEO Greg Morris.